Hey, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know, this is the official podcast of GeoWoodstock 18 right here in the great Pacific Northwest. You know, it's Thursday at 9 p.m. Pacific. I'm Chris of the Northwest, and we're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're getting a second opinion about that odd wart, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
You said you wouldn't tell.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, tonight, tonight we're going to talk about, okay, everybody's hung up on first to finds. What about the last to finds? Could be fun. Let's talk about those. Live audience, we want to hear your thoughts too. And of course, as he mentioned, it is 9 p.m. Thursday night Pacific, and I'm Wits End. It's time to bring in our last in line lemur. Some say 4 out of 5 dentists have no idea who he is. And others say he builds things from the ground up. In that order. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
It's really hard to build things once they're ground up, but you know, you gotta.
Not if you're building a hamburger.
That's true. That is a good point, Chris. I hadn't thought about that.
Fire, does it burn up or burn down?
All right. Yes, we are going to talk about last to find. I'm kind of curious to talk about this. I've already seen at least one person in the live chat throwing out some interesting personal information about that. So we'll see where it goes from there. But before we head down that road, if we were to perhaps head down the road to, I don't know, let's say Esquimalt in Victoria, then we would find our. There you go. Nicely done.
Wits End wins the internet again.
Well played, Wits End. Well played.
I don't know what you mean. Wait here.
So there you go. Well done. Very well done. A quick reminder that we appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. And thanks to Land Sharks, not the logger, but the geocaching store. One of
I
our
added the Z.
You did add a Z, and you even called it a Z. Well done. Land Sharks is one of our corporate denial of sponsors, and the Sharks store, the new Sharks store in Esquimalt, is open on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. One of the most favorited geocaches around can always be found outside the store. It moved with them, so there you go.
Good.
There you go. And our other corporate denali level sponsor, well, that would be our friends at Gold Country Geotourism. Oh, well played. Look at this guy. Somebody's got their game on tonight. All right.
That's it. I'm done. I'm out of trip now.
Well, Gold Country appreciates it. They want to remind you to make sure you know before you go. But we have a special message this week from Marcy. She writes and says, I'm Marcy, the Executive Director of Gold Country Communities Society. To show the community of Lytton, BC, that we are thinking of them, we are looking for quotes, uplifting messages that will be shared on the Gold Country website community page and in the upcoming visitor guide. The sections will be titled Our Love for Lytton. And if you're not sure what we're talking about, then you probably haven't been listening for the last couple of weeks, but the town of Lytton, BC was absolutely destroyed by a forest fire only a few weeks ago. And so that's what we're talking about here, and how to support them through a very simple gesture you can make. If you have something you would like to share, please submit it to goldcountry@telus.net by noon on August 1st, 2021. So that's going to come up fast. So if it's already past August 1st, 2021, you know what? Send it in anyways. But
should still use the help.
Exactly. But there you go. And then, of course, the reminder, because you do need to know before you go, check Wildfires BC and Drive BC just to make sure that where you would like to go, the roads are open. All right. That's it.
Nice. You know what? I think in the after show, we should ask our friends here that are listening live to come up with some things to say. We could copy them down and send an email from Caching in the Northwest to all the people in Lytton.
What a
So,
great idea. Just use hashtag Lytton before your comments
There you
so we know where to find it.
and that'll give the chat lackey something to do because it's so very quiet in the chat.
He seems
True.
bored. I think
know.
he's just sitting there playing video games and eating beef jerky. So
He's also very detail specific. So Lytton is Lytton. Make sure you put the right-
Yes,
you've worked with him before.
Oh yeah.
Hey, folks, it's time for the glow, or what we call the geocaching log of the week. Whether you read it or whether you wrote it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. You can send an email or a recording to feedback@cachingnw.com. You can always call into 253-693-TFTC and show us just how you glow.
And if I had a fancy graphic to slide in here, I'd show you what the glow badge looked like. But I don't. There it is. Chris has got it up there. This week's glow is from a cache called Follow the Rainbow. That's GCD CB.
Oh, man, I was just about to end the show.
No, I know you're reaching for that end button.
That was
GC
close.
Delta Charlie Bravo. And this log was by B. Lundeen 10, local cacher here. He's about 9 feet tall if you've seen him at an event, give or take an
If you've
inch.
seen him in the woods, you probably thought he was Sasquatch.
You might, yeah. Great guy. Great local cacher there. And the log says, I chose the falls as my main goal for the day. I wanted a short hike with a noteworthy destination, close proximity to my house, minimal elevation gain. I like that part. And an overall good experience. I also like that part. This hike fit the bill. On the hike up, I met a couple who were coming down the trail. And assuming they'd been to the falls, I asked how they were, meaning how the falls were. They were disappointed, saying the water flow was merely a trickle. When I got to the falls, I laughed about their exaggeration. Sure, the falls weren't in full blast mode, but I wouldn't call it a trickle. They were a sight to behold, especially over the massive cliff. Best of all, I was the only one there. When he said they were a sight to behold, he was talking about the falls, not the couple he met on the trail. I just want to clarify that
To
too.
assume.
I don't think you know that.
Well, he said he was the only one there.
Aha, okay. Ergo.
Yes. He continues, as for the cache, it was a strange one. The GPS was weirdly bouncing all over to the point where it was incapable of doing its job. I was scared I was in for a long search. However, the cache is exactly where you think it is. Just look around and think. The container's lid has oddly been chewed off, leaving a huge hole. And additionally, the logbook is riddled with muggle signatures all on random pages. I think this is the first time I've seen a logbook with more muggle signatures than geocacher signatures. Also, the contents are all dirty and odd. Surprised this hasn't been taken for all the accidental discoveries this cache gets. Since I found it uncovered, I re-hit it with a rock over it. Since the lid offers no protection, I would recommend that cache owner do a maintenance check. Thanks for the oldie.
Ooh.
GCDCB. I don't have that cache page up, but
Sounds
with
old.
with a GC code that short, I'll bet it's been around a while.
That's right. Well, thank you, Wits End. That was well done.
Well, P. Lundeen did all the work.
That's
I
true.
just read what you put here in front of me.
Okay.
Good job.
And do your own artwork.
No kidding. The art department there.
That's Zed. Man.
That was a lot of work.
Took a while, eh?
Well, because you're so used to writing the letter Z that writing a Z takes
Ah,
much more
yes.
work. It's a mental gymnastics.
It's the little cross on the middle that does it.
Yeah.
It's classy though.
Unlike me.
Folks, if you want to join in tonight's chat, use the hashtag last, because we're talking about last defines, to add something to tonight's show. And of course, you can always use the hashtag FATAS to bring up something in the after show. And the hashtag Lytton to say some good words to Lytton. I'll scoop all those together, send it off in an email. I'll even put a stamp on it. Send
Will
it
you?
off. Yep.
What a guy.
I
Probably
know.
need
Do you remember when the post office was at one point trying to work a way to get postage onto email so they wouldn't lose so much money?
That sounds like the post office.
Yeah, it didn't work. So
Really?
I'm pretty sure it didn't work. I think it's still free to send an email, as long as you have internet and accounts and so it's not free, is it? It costs a lot of money to send an email.
It's free, like geocaching's free.
Exactly. Hey, let's actually talk about some free geocaching stuff.
All right.
Well, or not. It depends on your aspect of geocaching. But last to find.
Yeah. So what do you mean by that? Define what you mean.
That's one of those stats we don't really want to track, is it? It's one of those things that you hear about, you go, oh, wait, you know what? Somebody's talking about this. Oh, that is gone. You know what? I was the last one to find that. Huh. That's a real bummer.
Yeah.
So, you were the last to find. It got muggled after you found it.
Okay, so not just the previous finder when you're there, you find in the cache.
Right. Looks like we've got some ne'er-do-wells in the chat this evening.
That takes an amazing amount of brain power to be able to do that. I'm so impressed by the quality.
Yes, exactly.
You've done, whoever you are, you've done an amazing job of impressing us all. You can stop now. All right.
I'm actually glad I don't have the chat open tonight.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing. Thank you very much to our chat wrench people who are throwing wrenches.
You guys are on top of it. I sure appreciate you all.
Yes, indeed.
So last to find, there was somebody who mentioned that they keep a watch list on their last finds, their recent finds, to keep, to know if they were last to find. And it's always interesting that, you would track that. Now, I don't want to be, I personally don't want to be the last to find, that something, I feel guilty that something went wrong and it was because of me that the cache got muggled.
Right. Well, but not always do they get muggled. I mean, what about any caches maybe in Lytton that were damaged by fire
that's true,
or flooding or other things like that,
or just disappeared, from whatever
tree limb through a wood chipper. It could happen.
It happens for sure. Yeah. Well, so what would be the reasoning that you would want to track that? I'm kind of curious about that.
Not exactly sure why people track it, but it's one of those things that they want to track. So that's what I want to bring up tonight is if we can, still be using the chat. Why is that something you track?
Yeah,
so,
we'd like to hear that from folks.
GeoNav Pro says, personally, I always leave my proximity circles on and look to see if the trail has an open spot.
Okay, yeah.
So that's interesting. That's actually an interesting idea. So as you're out on the trail, you can see, hey, you know what? There's an open spot. It's not quite a throwdown, but it's it's a quick placement of a
quick placement, or it could be, and this might be because I've been with GeoNav Pros when he's found archived caches doing that.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, and there you go.
You found at least one.
Yeah. Jim B says, why not?
There you go.
I guess I'm just kind of curious if there's like a challenge or something. That's the reason I was asking. Like, is there a challenge or something that you would I was the last to find? I guess maybe you don't want to make that a challenge because then people would just start going, I'll find this cache. Now I'm going to take it. I was the last to find it.
I hope not.
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
So, sorry, I'm distracted tonight now. I shouldn't.
Yeah,
be.
well, it's easy to be
I'm
tonight.
not going to pay them any mind.
Yep.
So do you track the last to finds? Now, does that mean somebody saw you? I don't know.
Right. So I guess there's an aspect of stealthiness that comes into play on that. But it could also be that, there's either natural reasons or the CO just decided to archive the cache and you just happen to have been the last person to find it.
That's true.
I was trying to, so here, you Talks to Rocks brought something up. Let's talk about that. Says, I only know of one cache where our group was the last to find before the CO removed it. So that's, I think, the situation I was just proposing, where the cache owner removes it. I'm thinking through different situations, like if you were the last to find and maybe the CO hadn't archived it, but there's now a string of DNFs. It could be handy for the CO to be able to reach out to you and say, hey, where did you find it?
What did you do?
Well, and maybe you didn't do anything, but you can say, oh, well, I found it in the crotch of the triple maple. And you can go, oh, well, that's not where it's supposed to be. And then it's like, well, no wonder other people can't find it. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess there's a scenario there where you could be helpful to the cache owner if you were the last to find, but that wouldn't necessarily mean tracking your last to find. That's
true. Now, I've gone, there's a couple of times I've been the, let's say the last to find before maintenance, right? So I went out on a hike down a Forest Service road with the cache owner and some friends, and he knew the Forest Service road was going to be having maintenance, and so he went and picked up all his caches. Come on, we'll all go out, pull these caches off the trail, go ahead and log them, because I'm gonna disable them for a while.
Yeah.
That was a pricey trip. Didn't that cost you a phone?
Yes, yeah, I think it did. Yeah, that was a pricey trip.
Yikes.
But I got a smiley, so really that's all that matters. No, it's not. The other one.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't realize you're
the other one was in the Tri-Cities. We were out in the area looking for caches for the Tri-Cities GeoCoin event, which is still coming up, folks. September 9th. Is that right?
I think it's closer to the 3rd, but it'll come up soon.
Yeah, so the research department will pop that up and then know exactly when it is. And as we were there near a boat launch, the cache owner was just pulling his boat out of the water. He goes, "Oh, are you guys geocaching? Yeah, I just pulled a cache off the island. You want to sign it?" Oh, okay. Because I'm going to archive it. I'm going to archive it before winter. And
okay.
So that's the way to get a T5.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be careful in the Tri-Cities. I hear a lot of things have changed over there.
You have no idea.
Yeah.
IHAM
yes
stated what I was trying. He just made it so nice. This is what I was trying to say earlier. He goes, sometimes you wonder, did I mishide it badly and cause it to be muggled?
Yes.
Right.
I think often many of us have that same thought. And then Brylang had also said, I've been the last to find where I found the cache, and then it went missing after my visit on more than one occasion. And that's happened. Actually, the opposite happens to Laura and I often, is that we're the first ones to DNF a cache. And then there's like a string of DNFs after us. And we're like, okay, well, I feel a little bit better, but still.
Yeah, the fact that you wonder, did I mishide it badly, shows that you do care. Because what bothers me is like, well, this doesn't seem right. I rehid it better than I found it. Like, no, that's not how you do it.
No, yeah, that's not always a good idea.
No, and that's one of my hot buttons in the game is, oh, I'm going to hide it better. I think this is a better spot. This is probably where they meant to hide it anyway. And then you go out to do maintenance on your cache and you can't find it because it's not where you hid it.
Right.
Right. It's like, why would you have put it there? That
Well,
doesn't make
that's
sense.
happened. I've got a couple of caches where they move around. They're both urban hides, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're every time it's an adventure for me if I go to do maintenance, right? So, yeah, that happens. We had a question from GSM times 2. He wanted to know, how do you know if you're the last to find?
That's right. And that's not a stat you can track. That's
Right.
something you have to want to go do.
Yeah. And Brylang.
Jim B says we track first to finds. Why not last to finds? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I would argue that maybe first to finds are a little more challenging than last to finds, and last to finds, unless you're doing something or unless you know something,
You don't want to be last to
are a
find.
little, yeah, they're a little bit more about luck or chance. But Brylang says the way that you know is you go back and read the logs.
Mhm.
Which fair enough. But I don't know that I would, like, months later go back and check the logs in every cache that I find.
Yeah.
Well, some people will put them on watch lists, and you can quickly scan your watch list. If somebody else has found it, you can
Right.
take it off the watch list and move on. But
it feels like
feels
like a lot of work.
It's not easy. It doesn't happen quickly and easily. So it's one of those things that is just like, I never considered that. Am I missing something?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
You Talks to Rock says, come to think of it, I went out with a couple of COs to remove a series of caches that had to be removed prior to some extended trail maintenance. Yeah, very much the same idea.
Yep.
So yeah, now, were they removed or disabled for a period of time?
Well, I
If
mean,
they
in
were
this case,
archived-
I think removed. So
Mhm.
prior to its extended. So I would assume, and because of what we're talking about, I would assume she means archived, but that's just an assumption. Yeah. So there you go. Last to find. So we talked about some reasons why caches why you might become the last to find. Sometimes they disappear, and also, as you were saying, the comment that IHAM made earlier about accidentally mishiding it badly and causing it to be muggled. Yeah, that one kind of brings up the conversation of being stealthy, and that one is interesting because some hides it's really hard to be stealthy, and sometimes you've got just really curious muggles. So you've always got to try and draw a balance between, okay, in this situation, I can be stealthy. I can get it, sign it, put it back, should be all right. And in some situations, maybe it's better to just explain what you're doing. Just hope for the best.
Tell the guy that's heading into the hobby store looking for a TV, and 15 of you are searching around a handicap sign, what you're looking for.
I feel like there's a story behind that.
No?
Just
total random nouns out of the ether.
Well, we were still looking at the handicap sign when he came out 15 to 20 minutes later, and he goes, I found what I'm looking for. Did you? No, I haven't found it.
We didn't. We confirmed with the CO that it was gone. So.
But an effort was made.
Oh, yes. Multiple tools retrieved from multiple vehicles. It was fun.
Yeah. There you go. So there's an example of stealthy, and so we talked a little bit about what do you do if someone thinks they see you if they're going into a hobby store to buy a TV. I guess we've got that particular situation covered off. But in general, like when you guys have been out in a park, let's say you're in a public park, and there's a couple different scenarios I can think of. One is the worst possible scenario is when it's a magnetic on a bench and there's someone on the bench.
On the bench, yeah.
What do you do?
You have to wait. Now, I've been with Sprouter, and he walked right up and said, hey guys, I need to look under this bench. I'm just geocaching, nothing to worry about. He grabs the cache, signs it, puts it back. I'm like, dude, I need to learn to do that. I would just simply walk away and go, well, I'll come back another day. But he was honest, went, quickly found it, returned it, and they paid no mind. They didn't care. So his honesty and, forthrightness, hey, I'm just going to go do this. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Dora Moore shared something interesting in the chat related to this. She says, I put a watch on a cache if I get muggled while signing it, just to be sure that the muggle leaves it there. And so far, so good. So
very nice. It's a good idea.
That's a very commendable example. And GSM Times 2 gave her a good example comment there. So good for her on that. And she goes on to say, other than that, I'd never think to go back and check. And I would agree. I mean, I don't think of doing that. In fact, I hadn't even thought of that idea. That's a good idea.
I think about it when I'm there. Oh yeah. I did a cache at a Walmart, it was a LPC, and I walk over, grab it. Oh, it's all bound up in there. Let me walk it back to my car, unroll it, sign it. Somebody parks right in front of the lamppost. I'm like, oh, and they're sitting in their car.
Of course,
what am I supposed to do? I was like,
that's when it helps to be wearing a
bomb under your car.
Yeah, that's when it helps to be wearing a safety vest, a hard hat, and carrying a clipboard. Because you can do anything with that.
Yes, exactly. Though I guess I could have went into Walmart and bought that stuff. I didn't have it with me because I wasn't expecting I would need it. But I think I waited 15-20 minutes and they finally drove off, and I was like, yeah, just one of those things of like, I could take it home with me and tell the cache owner, hey, sorry, I have it. I'll put it back as soon as I can.
Or you could file a DNF and make the last person think they were the last to find.
Ooh.
Brylang had said in the park bench scenario I was giving that he would just walk away. But I think in this comment here, he's speaking to Dora Moore's advice of putting a watch on a cache. And he says, I've done that once while doing a geo tour where a geo coin was on the line at the end of the day, and I had limited opportunity to go back.
Mm-hmm. Now, so what does stealthy look like these days? Now, if you're doing something with a geocoin, usually that's like a geocoin challenge, a geo tour. It could be the launch day and there's a lot of people around.
Yeah.
Right. So you get a group of 5 or 6 people going to the cache. That's some of the best stealthiness cover you can get is a small group.
Yep.
So gas station tuna says waiting is the hardest part. Yeah, you're right. You should write songs.
Can you make waiting about 7 syllables long?
Waiting.
Yep.
Stealthy. Just go up and grab the cache under the bench where the pretty girl is sitting.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? Yeah.
Did you get that, black guy?
That was a petty comment, says Land Monkey.
In response to gas station tuna.
So, I find small groups pretty easy, stealthy maneuver, right? Being men that we are, going and trying to look around a playground, probably not a good idea anymore, right? If kids are playing, that's one that you should just leave and walk away.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I guess that's the thing as well, right? I mean, that's the whole reason why they've got the proximities around playgrounds and schoolyards and things, right? So
airports, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I agree.
All right. So you're talking about what stealthy looks like.
GSM times 2 says Pokemon Go. It's the best thing that ever happened to being stealthy while geocaching. That's true.
So you just say, "Oh, I'm just playing Pokemon Go."
You could, but you still have to go look for the actual cache.
Right.
Right.
But if people wonder why you're still standing in that same spot looking at your phone
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody wonders anymore.
while you're trying to wait them up, like, come on, just go.
GSM times 2 says having a small dog works to distract a muggle while other people look for the cat.
See, there you go.
Or
you
a
send
small
the dog-
child work.
I was gonna say, send the dog running across the park and get the muggles to chase it down. Is that how that works?
My dog got away. Help!
Yeah, go get my dog.
Oh, that's
He comes
terrible.
right back. Yeah, I just have to call him. He comes right back. But go ahead and chase him for a bit.
But thanks. Yeah, he needed the exercise.
Oh, that's too funny.
Hey, this is a fun topic. It's last to find is not something I thought about chatting before, but I'm going to switch gears just a little bit and be the
Okay.
first to exit.
Oh,
I hate to do this to you guys. It's a late night here. My phone battery is dying. I've got an early call tomorrow at work. I wanted to make sure I could join you for at least a little while, but I need to check out.
All right. Well, it was great to see you, my friend. You be safe, and
Everybody in the chat except
Take care.
a couple people that apparently I don't want to know about.
yeah,
And have a great Friday.
you
Have a
too,
great
my
week.
friend.
I'll see you next week.
good night, Witsend.
Good night.
Okay, now that he's gone, we can talk about it.
There goes the show.
Let's see. Dora Moore says, I pick up garbage while I hunt. I've been praised for it by muggles, and as I'm standing there with a cache in hand.
yeah.
That's really good. Yeah.
That's a good practice, right? To see to while you cache, and that's always commendable. And that's a good point. It could help you just sort of cover up what you're doing while you're also doing something good. So that's kind of like a win-win.
And if you've been to any park lately, they all need a CETO. It seems.
Yeah. Yeah, the more people that are out using parks these days, the more they could use a good cleaning behind them.
This is an interesting thread. Keats says, don't wear sunglasses if you're trying to look suspicious. Trying not to look suspicious. Yeah. And Jim B says, heavily shaded car windows in parking lots are the worst. Is there someone in the car or not?
Yeah, fair enough.
That just happened 2 weekends ago to me, looking for a cache, and there's a car there. I'm like, well, I don't think anybody's in it. And so, there's the little trees right there, right in front of the car parking. And, so I'm not going to go right at the car. And sure enough, when I get around close enough, you look through the windshield and there's somebody in there eating lunch. Now, I didn't find the cache. So there was nothing there to muggle, but I was like, well, he's already seen me. I may as well have a good look now.
Yeah.
But no, I couldn't find it.
There you go. Hey, I see Marcy, who we read a message from at the beginning of the show. She's in the chat there saying hello from a smoky gold country. No kidding. Hey, Marcy, thanks for joining us tonight. We hope you and your family and your friends are well.
Yes.
We're glad you could be here.
What a profile picture she has there.
Yes.
She looks like she's in full fire regalia.
I'm sure she is. And just again, maybe we'll throw another reminder, folks, if you think about something positive, a message you want to send for the town of Lytton, just use hashtag Lytton, type it into the chat, and Chris will collect them all at the end of the show and send them off as well. Or, if you want to think about it a little bit longer, remember to send something to goldcountry@telus.net by noon on August 1st.
There you go.
All right.
Perfect.
So yeah, we'll throw that back in there. And what else did we have? Do we have anything else that let's pull this one up from Coon and Bud. Yeah, that one.
Oh boy. A cashier at Mingo Madness had a white van with free candy on the side. That stirred up some geocachers.
It's funny, but
it's funny, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's one of those that maybe that's,
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's funny to say, maybe not so funny to do. Yeah.
Interesting. Keith says, wear light clothes in certain areas. For a guy my age, a black hoodie looks super sketchy.
Yes.
That could be. Yeah.
I would well, for a guy any age wearing a black hoodie and black hoodie, ball cap and sunglasses.
Yeah. And
Especially
or
these days when you got a mask on as well. Yeah. It's like,
yeah,
don't do it. Yeah. Oh dear. Marcy says she's outside eating ice cream. She's just back from cleaning fire hoses. Good for you. Way to go, Marcy. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Marcy. We appreciate you. And remember, we're dedicating the after show to City of Lytton to send them good vibes, some good words, some good thoughts. So think about that. I'm going to keep saying it.
Hey, you got the first one already from Subway Mark.
Hey, there we go.
Thank you, Subway
Should we
Mark.
put it up here? Let's get it going here.
Get the ball rolling.
Yep. My wife and I had a great time a few years ago doing Gold Country caching there. Loved the church, but sad it's gone.
Thank you, Subway Mark. All right. Oh, hey, and it's Annette. She's back in the Pacific Northwest.
Peach, glad to have you home. After a very successful, epic geocaching journey that reaped the oldest caches in 5 states and then a family vacation.
That sounds like a good time.
She had her priorities in order, didn't she?
Yeah, no kidding.
Get the caching first and then do the family.
And then the family. Yeah. Well played. Well played. There you go. So yeah, I think we've run through most of the stuff on this topic, what stealthy should look like, being the last to find. We've got some ideas around, and you guys have come up with some really good suggestions from a number of you. And I got to say, I do like what Dora Moore suggested on the last to find, that if you think that you've been muggled, if you're pretty sure someone was watching you, put that cache on your watch list. You can, as Chris says, you can always remove it later, but then that gives you the reminder to just, did something funky go down there? So
yep.
I think that's
and then you'll get an email when somebody finds it and you go, okay, good, somebody found it.
Good. When it goes missing, it's no longer my fault.
Exactly. So the geocachers that are conscientious, and maybe that's not the right word, but there's a certain level of guilt. Maybe it's my upbringing that if I didn't put it back right and it's gone, that's on me. And now somebody else doesn't get the joy of finding this. The cache owner no longer gets the joy of getting the found logs. So that's where I come from, right?
That's fair enough.
Yeah,
I think that's good. I think it's good to be thinking that way, to have that, I don't know, moral compass, maybe a strong word for
assuage my guilt.
Yeah, there you go. That's better. Assuaging your personal guilt. All right. So yeah, great feedback, you guys, in the chat. As always, we love you guys in the live chat. Thank you so much for all the fun interaction you've been able to provide there. Chris, did you want to cover anything off, or are we gonna move ahead here?
I think we can move ahead. Folks, thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Caching in the Northwest, the Caching in the Northwest.
All of the caching.
All of it. Make sure to use the hashtag Lytton in the chat, because I think the chat lackey is folding laundry at the moment.
He's bored. Give him something to do, guys.
Give him something to do. And of course, we want to take a moment to thank Landsharks and Gold Country Geotourism, our corporate Denali level sponsors.
Yes, landsharks.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online, and remember, they ship online orders daily. And for amazing geocaching adventures, check out exploregoldcountry.com. And we want to thank our faithful Denali level supporters. That's Landsharks Gold Country Geotour, Team Squirrel, who we were talking about earlier, Groovy Owl, and Cachely, the geocaching app that I believe just released version 7, if I'm not mistaken.
August 2nd or 3rd.
August 2nd, just about to release version 7. Hey, and if you want to know more about supporting this very podcast, click that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com, a website.
That's right. And we also want to thank our newest patron, Gas Station Tuna.
And MC3 Cats.
Kennel Barb.
T. Sayer.
Segehove.
Wet Coaster.
Genies.
GSM at times 2.
Fairwood West.
Kid Vegas 19.
Boomer 365. It was the anticipation that made
I
it
was
more
waiting for it. That was very exciting. Donners.
just finding our way.
LG 9000.
Seaback Tribe.
Green Words.
Broncos fan for life.
3 hums and a ruse.
Ooh, I like what you do. CRS 98.
Alarobrick.
Ari 54321.
And Logwork. Hey, Logwork, if you're listening, I owe you a message and I will get back to you later tonight.
Wow, that's personal.
Yeah, there you go.
Peach of Washington. Welcome back to Washington.
Where you belong, clearly. M-Nerve.
Camp Clan.
Kev MacD.
B Pendragon.
Antaeus.
Ackerdoc.
The Geo Travelers.
The aforementioned Sprouter.
On a boat.
Keats 94. Geo Nav Pros.
Tickameganit.
You talks to rocks, and she talks
Trexer.
to us.
She does. Quite a bit tonight. Thank you. And Trexter Zero. Saw you out on the trail recently.
Team Noltex.
Winos Seattle.
Dora Moore.
Oh, that was ominous. I feel like there's a backstory to that now. All right.
No, nothing.
Having lots of fun making ducks in the chat. It's UDAC.
I don't know if we can say that.
Making ducks. Ducks. Quack, quack, ducks.
Sure. I have a feeling though there's something else going on. Especially when it involves Subway Mark.
And certainly not least, but last tonight, Limax.
So, folks, thanks for listening. We have, I can't say a new segment. You know what? I'm going to take that word right there out of the show notes.
You really should, because you're always tempted to say it now.
Yeah, it's there. We have a segment. Plain old segment for listeners to learn a little bit about your hosts. Now, there's only 2 hosts, so you're going to learn a little less tonight than you normally would. But you get to ask. It's last. Listeners ask some things, and now we get to answer. If you'd like to ask some things, call into 253-693-TFTC or email your question to feedback@cachingandw.com. So, Land Monkey, my question to you, and my question to all of you listening. What is the last book you read?
The last book I read is Geology of Southwest British Columbia.
Now, why would you
are you
read something like
surprised?
that? Yeah. No.
That's the last book I read. Might not be exciting to some, but I enjoyed it.
I bet. I've got one that I've been meaning to read.
Okay.
The Big Something.
Big Red Dog.
No, it's a book that my son got for university, and it's about geology in the area. And I was like, I want that book when you're done. And,
That's
and I
cool.
can't remember what it's called now, because I haven't read it yet. But the last book I read, I had to read it for work, but I really enjoyed it. It was called The Phoenix Project, and it's about DevOps.
Oh, that's why it sounds familiar. I have read that one a long time ago.
I found it thoroughly enjoying, and there was areas where I was breaking out in a cold sweat because I've been there, with things going wrong.
So it's not a technical manual. It's a book that helps you understand the concepts of DevOps and gives you some real. Yeah, that's cool.
So yes, it's a technical manual at the back half, but the first half it's told to you in story format, so you can pick up the pieces in context. And
Very cool.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. But there you
Very
go.
cool.
That's all I
Well,
got to say.
UDAC just found the perfect way to make sure that she's the first comment we bring up. She said, the last book I read is the Caching Guidebook to Metro Vancouver and the Fraser Valley. I know that book. That's awesome.
Huh.
Thank you, UDAC. I very much appreciate your support, and I hope you enjoyed it and get an opportunity soon to make use of it.
Brownie points.
That's
Jim
right.
B read Ultimato. It's a Cliff Knowles mystery. And those are geocaching related books. The Cliff
Yes.
Knowles mysteries are quite good.
Yeah. Have we haven't had him on the podcast, have we?
It's been years.
Okay. Well, we should
We
see
should
what
have
he's
him
doing.
back.
Yeah.
GSM Times Sue's book. I think it was fun with Dick and Jane.
Yeah. Oh, we're getting lots of great ones here.
White Coaster said Night Watch by Sir Terry Pratchett.
Yep. Very cool.
3 Hams in a Row said Book 5, Mostly Harmless, of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
By Douglas Adams, indeed.
He didn't put that on there. You don't know.
I'm going to just go out on a limb and make a wild guess that it's the Douglas Adams book.
Okay. Edward said Winter Kill by C.J. Box. UTech says, oh man, it feels like I'm in a job interview all over again. Brian Lang says, I haven't picked up anything non-internet related for so long. I picked up a brief history of the Knights Templar from a little free library recently, and I'm hoping to read it soon.
You know, that's a good point. Like the little free libraries are such a great idea now, and often we visit them because there's geocaches on or near them.
Why else would you go?
But it's geocaching that introduced me to the idea of little free libraries. Quite honestly, I didn't even know they were a thing until I found the first geocache I had found that was hidden at one, and then I'm like, these are awesome. I love this idea, and so now I kind of keep my eyes open for them as I'm going through the communities.
Yeah, there's several in the neighborhoods here, and they've got some good stuff in them. The first time I did kind of that book exchange was at it wasn't Airbnb at the time, but like a bed and breakfast.
Okay.
Oh hey, have a book, take a book. Okay, so I took one and read it. It was The Invisible Man. I hadn't read that one before.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah,
is that H.G. Wells? I'm trying to remember. I think it's H.G. Wells.
I believe so.
Oh, all right.
So I feel like I should know his geocaching name, and I can't come up with it. Alan Richards. I can't come up with the geocaching name. Sorry about that. The Imam of Tawi Tawi. I just about finished it tonight. Finally got back into fiction reading this year, and many years of not picking up a book.
Good for you. Very cool.
Dora Moore says, I've been scouring cookbooks lately. Does that count? Of course it does.
Absolutely.
It's got the word book right in it.
There you go. Marcy, his last book she read is the Backroads Map Book, Thompson Okanagan. Awesome. Love the Backroads Map books.
We Bought a Zoo. I'm just going to leave it at that. Now, I don't know if that's the book he was reading. Oh, or that's his life. No,
it's just
We Bought a Zoo by Benjamin Mee.
There you go. Kitty Quest says the last book was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue from my book club. Currently reading The Overstory. Very cool. Start Casher says Hidden Passions. It was background stories to the NBC soap opera Passions. Well, there you go. That's interesting. 3 Hams shares that he's loaded 130 books onto his brand new Kindle the other day. He was mentioning about his new Kindle and some of the features. I've thought about buying a Kindle in the past. I mean, I do have a passion for books and reading, and I don't know why I've never done it. Never bought a Kindle, but maybe I'll need to do that.
A Kindle is nice. Yes, you can do it on a tablet or a phone, but that screen is, for long-term reading.
Paper screen. Right.
Yeah. So the Kindle is actually really nice for, long-term reading. Edward says CJ Box is an author that keeps his stories to the Pacific Northwest, Utah, and surrounding states.
That's
I
cool.
didn't know that.
Very neat.
And Ralph Ellison wrote The Invisible Man.
All right. Thank you, GST.
Oh, there you go. Research department.
Oh,
Marcy got a National Geographic book called My Kitty and read it 15 times for Grand Cub.
that's cute.
Love the free book bins. Oh boy, I can't tell you how many times I've read some of the kid books to my child, to the point of we don't need to open the book tonight. I've got it memorized.
There you go. Hey, IHAM just posted one. This is interesting. I like this. Monkey Cakes just finished Subpar Parks by the person who does the travel posters of the same name. We did an episode of this podcast based on that concept and had such a hoot doing that. We'll have to do that again one time. But that's cool. I didn't know there was a book out. I'm going to have to check that out. Thank you for sharing that, IHAM.
Brylang says, I have a Kindle. I didn't find enough free books to read on it. I'd rather have a tablet and a subscription to Scribed, I think. Not sure yet.
There you go. Wow.
If you have Amazon Prime, you get, what do they call it? First reads. Every month you get, I don't know, 2 or 3 choices of new books that have come out that you can.
Yeah, but that's like 2 or 3 that they choose for you, right? It's not like out of things that you think you would like to read.
Exactly.
All right. GSM times 2 has a little more Invisible Man info here for you.
The Invisible Man is a science fiction novel by H.G. Wells, originally serialized in Pearson's Weekly in 1897. It was published as a novel the same year.
There you go.
Ryling says Amazon has Kindle Unlimited, but they're not unlimited as you would think when you go looking for the authors you really want to read.
Well, yeah, that's the same as Amazon Prime with their video. It's like, oh, look at all the videos you can watch. If you want to pay $5. Yeah.
Edward says Kindle takes away from that classic book feel. I agree with that.
Okay. Yeah. There's something to be said about the tactile feeling and the smell of the pages. And I get that. I'm on board with that.
Right. But I think it's a better reader than a tablet or a phone.
Yeah. Oh, and IHAM says the library has a ton of ebooks that can be read on a Kindle. So that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. My father, he has a iPad and the Libby app, and he never goes into the library. He gets all the books he needs off of that Libby app and reads all the books he wants from there. So, it's the regular library request, right? I want this book. Oh, it's out. The electronic version.
So you do have to wait for them sometimes. It's not there.
Sometimes. Right.
Okay.
So, he'll have, I don't know, 7 or 8 or 9 books in his queue at any time.
Very cool. Okay. Well, that was really informative, you guys.
See? Use the Libby app.
There you go.
And look, you can have it for a few weeks and renew it just like a real book. And they have a limited number of copies on loan. Exactly. That's all. That's
there
it.
You go.
Okay. Thanks, folks, for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Your support helps keeps the quality shows coming. If you like the show, click the Patreon link on the CachingNW.com website. If you didn't like the show, let us know what you want us to talk about. In either case, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. Subscribe or give us a review. Call 253-693-TFTC and ask us, or leave us a comment, ask us a question, or help us find that hard-to-find book any time of the day or night. And, of course, you can email us at feedback@CachingNW.com. Join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific for a live show and chat. And you never know who's going to show up. The show's produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, and Jay Kennedy. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Copyright 2021 by Chris Umfenauer. And, folks, we ask you to stay tuned for
The After Show.
He's back.
It's Never Left.
It's like he never left. The after show. We've had a bunch of FATAS during
Yes,
the
we have.
show tonight. That's awesome. And we're still getting feedback about ebooks. We may have to do an episode just on ebooks at some point.
Should we do an episode, something that's not necessarily geocaching every once in a while, just to stir things up?
I don't know. Let's see what our listeners think. Do you guys want to hear us talk about things that aren't geocaching related every once in a while? All right, we'll see what folks have to say about that.
There's one here I want to read from Starcacher.
Okay, you go ahead and do it.
But I got to find it because it's one of those things that you gotta see it to believe.
Yeah, see it to believe it. So when you're searching for these, are you actually like scrolling up looking for these?
Yep.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. 15 regular icons in a day.
Oh my goodness. Really?
Hold on. That's what he did in a day. Here he goes. On Saturday at the Midwest Geo Bash, I had a 15 icon day. It included a 175-mile round trip to Fort Wayne, Indiana from Wauseon, Ohio, starting at 4 a.m. 17 icons if you also include a benchmark and a waymark.
That's amazing.
The 15 icons were traditional, multi, mystery, virtual, earth cache, letterbox, where I go, webcam, event, CETO, mega, community celebration, GPS maze, locationless, the frog, adventure lab. How many was that?
That was 15.
Okay.
He checks out. Quality control confirms. That's amazing. That was
worth
astounding.
Showing because there's no way I would have been able to. You wouldn't have believed me if I just rattled that off.
No. That's amazing. Very well done.
IHAM wants to know what Dear Geocache Guy would do with the last to find challenge.
I think we know what he would do. I don't think we need to ask that question. He gives lots of bad advice.
Subway Mark wants to know who's going to the Tri-Cities Geocoin Challenge. He just booked a hotel. Did he book the entire hotel?
Yes, for all his friends to come and stay with him. I would love to go, but we are not sure the U.S.-Canada border is going to be open on time, and I don't want to commit the money to a hotel at this point in time because it's not looking good that you guys are going to let us down there.
Well, you know about the secret underground tunnels, right?
I do. The problem is once you come out on the other side.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And the other problem is coming home again. But anyways, yeah. So probably not very many Canadians are going to be coming down, sadly, to Tri-Cities. But yeah. And Brian says likely not any Canadians. The U.S. border closures have been extended to August 21. I think that's right, somewhere in there. So yeah, it is very difficult for us to book hotel rooms and make those commitments. But that said,
I think Subway Mark did book the entire hotel. So
there you go.
If you can make it, you've got a place to stay, apparently.
Well, thank you, Subway Mark. So now it just depends on the border opening. We'll just play it by ear.
How's that for social distancing?
Yeah,
I'll just take the entire hotel.
I'm wondering if anybody else is planning to go though.
I am.
Are you? You going to be there? Awesome. Yeah. So folks should look for you and I don't know, talk to you, be nice.
Yeah, they don't have to.
There you go.
But yeah, I'm planning to go. It's one of those. This is one of the events that it's so worthwhile. It's just a lot of fun to go.
It is. I'm very much going to miss it again. I mean, last time I missed it is because it didn't happen, but this time it's going to happen and I'm not going to be there and I'm not going to see any of my Washington State friends that I always see when I'm there. And it's kind of sad. Yeah. Thanks for making me sad, Subway Mark.
But you went and it was like, 317 degrees or something.
Well,
Fahrenheit 451.
But I mean, honestly, it's like that now. So does it really matter?
I think
we've been acclimatized
into September is going to be a little nicer weather-wise.
I would think so. Yeah.
So
I would hope so. But yeah, so I hope you guys have fun.
You guys are welcome to stay if you don't mind his golden retriever.
I don't mind golden retrievers at all. I miss mine. There you go.
Is anyone going to the event Saturday evening in Poulsbo?
Well, I don't know. I guess that would
I was
again be
hoping
directed to
to-
Washington State folks.
Yeah. My weekends here in the next couple of weeks have been booked with family events. So I'm going to try to get out when I can, but either, I've had home maintenance issues or family
Right.
events, and the two have kind of, curtailed my entire weekends. So in fact, weeknights right now are working hard to get ready for the family to come on the weekends.
There you go. Well, I hope it works out for you, buddy. And, it'll be excellent for you to, plan ahead and get
Yep.
to that Tri-Cities challenge in a couple of months. Actually, not even that long, just over a month.
Yeah, exactly.
Just over a month away. Subway Mark commented that he's never been to the Tri-Cities challenge. So
Ooh,
I am
what?
certain you will enjoy it.
We should get together in a car and I can tell you all the things that have changed.
Don't do it, Subway Mark. Don't do it. Oh.
You're welcome to.
Keats94 shares that technical difficulties have thwarted his ability to post a new video tomorrow. So,
What?
Sadly, every week there's always been something in his way of publishing. I can appreciate what that's like. This time the upload gremlins have prevailed. So I'm sure there will be a Keats94 geocaching adventure soon. All right.
I can't believe what Breiling put here.
What's that?
Let's see. Is it in the... Breiling found 112 Where I Go caches last week in Edmonton. All reverse Where I Goes. 95 of them were geo art style. I don't believe you. I think you just lied right there. No, I know.
I believe it.
He would. If he lied, he would have said 211 instead of 112. So 112 is possible.
If they're put out in a density, it's probably not like, you got to go 2 kilometers wandering around. I mean, they're probably pretty straightforward to find if they're out in a density like that.
Mm-hmm. So were the reverse Where I Goes pretty close? You didn't have to go far. Yeah.
Thumbs up there from the chat lackey. Yeah. So.
Wits End and I did one a couple of weeks ago, and it was like 3.5 miles away.
Wow.
I mean, it was, quite a long one. I'm like, are you kidding? Okay, well, that's a lot longer than I thought. Okay, let's go do it.
Awesome.
Kitty Quest said, last Friday, I finally got to host my community celebration. It was nice to see folks.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's good news. What else do we have there?
Reverse Where I Goes can all be solved at home and collected like traditionals.
Yeah, exactly. To which GSM times 2 says, reverse Where I Goes, the LPC of Where I Goes, especially if the cheater is used. Yeah, basically. It was a great idea when they first came out, but I don't know that too many people really play them as intended anymore. I'm sure some people do.
That was Wits End's first reverse Where I Go. So I did it, legally. In fact, I didn't know there was a cheater. So now I know.
There you go. Other Fatas, Wet Coaster says he's hoping to complete the August souvenir on Monday. Excellent.
Holy cow.
Get out and do some serious caching. And we're gonna actually talk next week, I believe, Chris, about we're gonna see if we can pull in a special guest, and we're gonna talk about some strategies. Yeah, for completing those souvenirs in the new challenge. And then I'm also going to suggest, so that's next week. And the week after that, we've got another special guest, and you're going to want to tune in for that episode. I'm not going to say anything more. Just say, I'm
going to be here then.
You're not going to want to miss that episode. All right.
15 caches completes the August souvenir. There are 2 of them.
Excellent. There you go. 15. That's findable in a month. 15 traditionals.
That is.
We can find 15 traditionals in a month.
That's one every other day.
You can do it. All right.
Okay. But remember, you got to keep this up for 7 months. So if you find all 15 traditionals around your house, you're going to have to every month you're going to have to travel farther and farther away. I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
All right. Well, shall we wrap it up? 7 months including winter. Yeah, there you go.
Winter is coming.
Okay.
Hey,
All
folks,
right.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Caching in the Northwest. And until next week, get out, because winter is coming in the Northwest.